Narrative is everything. The UFC is going to sell you a story, and it is your job to make a decision on whether you're going to believe that story or if you're going to just take what you see and what you understand about the fight game and make that as your prediction, as your call. Now, we were both really high on Justin Gaethje, but we also give all the respect in the world to Dustin Poirier because he's earned it. Were you surprised, AJ, that Justin Gaethje came out here and by the time that the fight finished, not only did he have a miraculous head kick knockout on Dustin Poirier, Robert Whittaker style, right, Leon Edwards style, but he also threw and landed more strikes. Were you surprised?
Not really, Derek. We were talking about how Justin Gaethje has grown into becoming a very technical fighter, more technical than he previously was. And we were saying how Dustin Poirier has kind of stayed at that same technical level. Arguably, technically, Dustin Poirier is still a little bit more solid in that fact, but seeing Justin Gaethje, come out and really start to put the work in, more strikes, looking good. That technique that he really went and started working on Elevation Fight Team and honing in showed levels above. But it's still crazy to me, Derek, that one of the most, or the way he finishes the fight is how he used to. Big head kicks, big bodies, big power. He still has that savage killer mentality in him. But now, man, he has some very sharp tools in the tool belt to go along with it. So to answer your question, not really surprised, man. I was just surprised that this got finished before 3 because I thought this was going to be a long night, just a slugfest. Were you surprised by the way Justin Gaethje kind of was being more technical or more like proficient in the way he was striking?
No, the technical prowess of Justin Gaethje was not surprising. That's everything that I expected. It's the volume, honestly. He was throwing way more than I anticipated him to. He had Dustin Poirier in a spot where Dustin was being forced to walk forward, and Justin Gaethje was just picking him apart with counters, right? Which is not quite what you see. Normally, it's kind of the opposite right there. The most important part, though, is that Justin Gaethje showed that head kick once in the first round, and Poirier got his guard up for it. And I thought that was it. I thought, okay, that was going to be his big shot, but, you don't want to invite any wrestling for Dustin Poirier. You want to keep it clean, stay out the pocket. Brother, he threw it again, and it felt random. It felt like it was a beautiful setup. Don't get me wrong, it was fantastic, but it was so random and out of place. That's probably why Poirier didn't expect it. Blocks it, still wraps around the guard, and just claps you right there above the ear. I mean, listen, man, that's a baseball bat to your head. It put him out, and Justin Gaethje reigned supreme. I guess this is going to be the real question right here. Does this version of Justin Gaethje with a big win over Dustin Poirier give you any confidence that he can have a victory in a rematch against Oliveira or be able to put on a better fight than Charles Oliveira did to Islam Makhachev? What do you think?
It does give me some good feelings going into that fight especially with Islam. Now the Charles makes it a little bit different. I think that just the wild card that Charles presents is a little bit weird. But if Justin Gaethje against Islam is able to stay technically proficient, stay with that thing, and still have that killer instinct, avoid the takedowns like he did, and kind of force Makhachev to be on the front foot, not allowing him to take control, then we got a fight right here, especially if D1 Justin Gaethje comes out and he shows some wrestling game. But I don't know, Derek. What about you? Who of those two opponents do you think has the better shot, or Justin Gaethje has the better shot to take advantage of?
It's tough because I want to say Islam Makhachev, even though that sounds crazy. People are going to be like, huh, what do you mean? Makhachev's going to take him down and drown him. But if he could mimic a little bit of the takedown defense, or at least the submission defense that Volkanovski showed, every time he's on the feet, I imagine Gaethje is just going to destroy the lead leg of Makhachev. So all that stand up, the pop on the takedown, it all goes away. I just think it's crazy to me that Dustin Poirier, he announced the whole camp, we've been working that check for the inside calf kick. We've been working that all camp. So what does Gaethje do? Outside calf kicks the whole entire fight. I mean, bro, that's just cerebral. That's just like, all right, you took away that weapon, I'm just going to hit you from the other side. I bet you didn't train that. So, I mean, beauty, poetry in motion ultimately here for the Justin Gaethje win. BMF belt gets awarded to the non-ATT team by Jorge Masvidal. Give me any thoughts and impressions just on legacy, on what this fight ultimately means for both fighters. Is Dustin Poirier's legacy tainted at all, and what does this mean for Justin Gaethje?
I think it's a pro for both people, Derek, to be completely honest with you, because if you're on the Poirier side, it's a fake belt. Doesn't matter. It's like the WWE. Has no effect on things. But at the same point, if you're on Justin Gaethje's side, you got another belt, brother. You got something to hold that other people want. That is an acclamation. People are claiming this as a belt, so you have to hold it as like a championship. I think it gives both people room to kind of put a pro mark on their record without having an asterisk against them. Even though you lost this fight, doesn't mean a big deal. No, you're still one of the top dogs. You still have all your career. You have aspirations and goals that you can still attain with or without losing the BMF belt. But at the same point, you can kind of nix it by saying, bro, it's not even in a weight class. This thing bounces around. It's whoever it is. He can he can lose the next fight and still not lose the BMF belt. It doesn't really weigh that much. Personally, though, I like the idea. I like the idea of quote unquote gimme belt, or like a kind of it's up for nothing because it's a lot of fun. What else are we here for besides to be entertained? Let's make a couple more and have some fun, like going forward with that. It spreads the wealth everywhere else, and I like that aspect of it, Derek. Do you see what I'm saying, or do you see it as a pro or a negative on one way or the other?
No, I feel what you're saying. I think legacy-wise, both guys are going to be in a great spot moving forward. Poirier, already a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, even though he never reached the actual goal of champion or unified champion. Justin Gaethje with the BMF belt, it's cool, right? It's a little something that solidifies him as not just the guy of folklore, but the guy who gets bonuses in every single one of his fights. And on top of that, he is one of those rare 4 people in consideration of the BMF, and he actually got it done. Either way, I think if you're in consideration for the BMF belt, you're a BMF. So it's as simple as that. But this is the last point that I want to hit, and I want to move on to the next fight here, AJ. This is something that I feel strongly about. So, forgive me, folks, if you fall into this category, but as they say, if the shoe fits, wear it, right? I really feel like every time we have these numbered events, I love it because this is more traction, this is more visibility for the sport, the casuals get in, everybody has an opinion, right? All I heard all week long is Dustin Poirier this, Dustin Poirier that. He's going to wash Justin Gaethje isn't good, da-da-da-da-da. And this is why I say UFC paints these pictures, they paint these narratives, and Dustin Poirier gets a lot of extra shine. Why? Because he beat up Conor McGregor a couple times, right? So when you have all of that in play, everybody is going to be very definitive in their opinions. Now, it's our job, once again, to come in here and shed light on the guys who don't have as much name power, who we know are very, very skillful and talented. Now, AJ, I know you picked Dustin Poirier officially on the pick, but I do know you had a very healthy sense of respect for Justin Gaethje being able to get a victory in this fight. Same thing for Alex Pereira. We got lucky on that one, but I want to talk about the overall lesson that we learned here. I say it almost every numbered card, but like at a certain point, you have to start trusting the people who actually put in the time and watch film and understand just kind of the nuances of the sport and what they've seen time and time again versus, right, all of the heavy traction that can sway you and make you change your pick. What lessons did we learn from the casual invasion of the numbered card that we always get every couple weeks? What do you think?
And nothing to shit on the casual fans or nothing to shit on, especially the casual media that's portrayed. But if you're falling into those videos and you're falling into the press conferences, you're falling into especially the embeddeds, you're watching those, you're going to see a highlight of one athlete above the other, and you really kind of just dive in and people double down. Again, like Derek said, I bet for Poirier, but it wasn't because of the embedded. It wasn't because of the narrative, because you fall into that trap, and it's exactly that. You're stuck in the game. But Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, they're both high-level fighters, so it is a mix-em-up either way. But to Derek's point, one of my favorite things is seeing all the new people come in, seeing this sport that would have never in a million years attracted them. But then they're like, oh, well, this is actually pretty cool. Love that aspect of it. But again, folks, if you're willing to lay some money down, do not fall into the narrative because it is a trap game more often than not.
And if you feel like, hey, I'm not invested enough to do all of that work, I'd rather just hang out and be a casual, that is absolutely fine. That's why you tune into programs like this, and we got you covered because we're your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. With that being said, the BMF belt has a new holder, I guess you could say it, and that guy's name is Justin Gaethje. All right, folks.